This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
What up, though, ladies and gents? This is Knockouts and 3 Counts. Sorry for the delay. It was trying to get the stream up and going, whether you're watching on Millions, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on YouTube, whatever medium you're watching, we appreciate you checking it out. If you guys are checking out the fights, let us know what you guys think of what we got so far. We got King Green in the cage for this one. I'm a King Green guy, always been a King Green guy.
Yeah, Bobby's my boy.
This fight kind of scares me, to be honest.
I mean, they've got Hoofy as a giant favorite.
Well, I mean, in this one, I can't say that it's not necessarily rightfully so either.
I feel like, I mean, Bobby Green's proven MMA talent. I mean, we've seen what these fighting nerds have been able to come out here and really establish as a team and such. But, I mean, Bobby's nobody he's no slouch, man. I'm surprised they're giving, the odds on this one. At least to that level. Last I seen it, it was like plus 500 or minus 500 one way or the other. It's 500, and I was like, that's an insane amount on this fight.
All right, Bobby's doing okay. His signature with his hands down. You guys are watching on whatever channel you're watching it on, do us a favor and share this out. Let somebody know that we're doing this.
Yeah, appreciate all the comments beforehand. We were trying our best to get the stream pulled up. For anybody else that may be watching this this pay-per-view, let us know how much of a struggle you're dealing with ESPN Plus, because we were able to pull it up, but by God, was it a pain in the arse? You know what I mean?
Even on ESPN, I tried to buy it on ESPN and get all that going and trying to get going, but ESPN's on my laptop, on my TV, saying it's unable to access stream and all that.
We eventually figured it out, but by God, I mean, come on, you guys want to take our money to watch them
big
play?
Shot on King Green. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
He's fighting back, though, but man, this kid Hoofy has got power, bro.
Yeah. It looked like he tagged him hard, too. You could see that.
Oh, dude, when your guy's head rocks back like that, you know he got hit hard.
Anybody in the comments, let us know who you guys got in this.
Ooh, big wheel kick knockout.
Oh,
damn, I didn't want to see him go down like that. Oh, my
this one I went
God,
to go share the stream and I
bro.
missed it. Oh,
Fuck, that was bad.
Mm.
Woo, mother fuck. Hey, it was good hanging with you as well, Philly B. Autorama was good times. Dude. Woo. Damn.
I mean, these fighting nerds, man, like I was saying, they're just really taking over the game. It's crazy.
We met the Dudley boys when we were at Autorama, and they wore glasses like the fighting nerds do. Maybe we need to start having these dudes get the tables, because man, these dudes are taking out everybody.
And the splash that they're
please don't blow out your knee.
The splash that they're all making, man, it's such a drastic, quick impact. I mean, a lot of these guys came from, general, making their debut to the UFC to knocking out Bobby Green with fucking spinning wheel kicks. I mean,
man, I hate to see that happen to Bobby Green.
Oof.
Oh, I hate
right on the temple.
That
directly on the
hurts.
temple. You've seen the legs fold. Oof. Ooh, face first.
Damn it, dude.
Mm.
That was nasty, dude.
That's To your point, Kyle, that's what that hands down style though that you've been, talking about for years. That's what ultimately that can lead to sometimes is
Look, man, I mean, it works until it doesn't. I'm
Yeah.
not hating on anyone that uses it, but I mean, eventually that's going to catch everybody. I don't care who it is.
man.
You're not lying.
MMA, not a kind sport to the loser, that's for sure. At least he's up. He's talking to his coaches. That's always a good sign. He's able to stand in for the decision. Man.
KO of the night, dude. That might be KO of the year to knock a motherfucker out with a spinning wheel kick.
Poor Bobby Green on that one, man. That sucks, man.
Loco. There it is.
Man.
That was nasty. If any of you guys are watching that, feel free to chime in with what you guys are feeling on that knockout, dude.
They put the glasses on Rogan, too, of course.
Bro, you got to.
It's they've done such a good job, too, with that, like, moniker or whatever you want to call it, where it really does, like, whenever it's synonymous with the team already, like, the typical nerd, taped glasses, the whole look. But then, I mean,
Look, bro,
it's like a marketing ploy that's been overly successful, but then their fighting ability
it's successful because it's not a marketing ploy. That's just something they do.
Yeah. Well, I mean marketing as in the whole glasses gimmick. I mean, clearly they're not all nerds. They're just really deeply studied in
I get it, but
game and to be.
But I'm saying the reason why it gets over,
be able to transition themselves into this level of point, it's
right? But
wild.
My point is the reason why that gets over is because it's not a gimmick. It's not a marketing thing because that's their thing, And then isn't John Silva that's fighting on the next one against Bryce Mitchell one of them too?
Yeah. Prates. There's like a bunch of the up and comer, real next level top guys that are.
J-Bone's got a good question. Is that the end for Green? Guys taking significant damage?
I don't think so personally because I think he's one of those guys where his style can always win him fights. He just needs to work on his defense a little bit. That one he found himself against the cage a little bit and got tagged. That spinning kick was just nasty. I mean, I don't know. That being said, does he have anything left to prove? Not necessarily. Is he necessarily going to make some giant championship level, run? Probably not. But is he making good money to go out here and fight these fights? I would imagine so.
Yeah, but everybody gets to a point where if you keep getting knocked out, they're not going to keep.
Mm-hmm. Man. Asking for 2 bonuses, the double bonus.
You're not wrong. I'm sure Dana's going to talk to him about it.
I mean, he's going to hook him up for that knockout, but I don't know about that bonus, man.
What are you talking about? He hit him with a spinning back kick.
Yeah.
Spinning wheel kick to the head and knocked him cold. No need for extra shots, nothing. Face first, cold.
Man.
That's not just a knockout, dog. I challenge anybody else on this card to do that to somebody.
Oh, I got it. I got it in me. I'll hit one right now.
Watch out, Corey's going to tear his hamstring,
Yeah,
his hip flexor, and everything else. And
right now, I ain't doing shit. I'm old man sciatic nerves fucking flaring up. Yeah. That being said, anybody in the comments with us, what's your thoughts on the main event tonight? What's your thoughts on the co-main? Do you like the replacement for Hooker? I mean, obviously, I feel like all of us were looking forward to that Hooker fight. That was like the cherry on top of a typical pay-per-view, you know. But I feel like people are sleeping on the Fiziev fight. I feel like people kind of forget what he brings to the table and the high-level excitement that he brings in these striking matchups and stuff. And him and Gaethje are going to be a real good matchup. It's just the fact that we've seen it once, so I don't know. We'll see what the matchup. We'll see what the rematch brings.
Well, and think about what up, Doe? Appreciate you. You know, I mean, I appreciate what Fiziev said too. He said it's his birthday. That's a birthday gift to him to get to run this fight back.
Yeah.
The fact that they got Gaethje is like losing money, like as plus money is fucking wild to me. I know it's because he got knocked out, but dude.
Well, he's done two things, right? He's lost since then, and he's gotten older. But so is Fiziev. Fiziev's also gotten older, and he hasn't fought. Injury. You know what version of him are we seeing once he comes back? I mean, ultimately, a lot can change in that time. You know. I was watching his interview on Ariel Helwani, though, that being said, and he was talking about the improvements he was able to make and this time in Thailand and stuff, and being able to try to round out his game further. And the fact that he's been waiting for a matchup since, I think he said, like September or something. So he's been staying close to weight for him to be able to take this at weight.
But that's not. I mean, that's not being in the cage with somebody like Justin Gaethje.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Absolutely not.
But you can train your ass off, but that don't mean that you're. Look, it's like we talk about in pro wrestling all the time. There's the ring rust thing. It's like really for real. You can do all the practice shit, all you want, all the rolling you want, all the sparring you want. It's not the same as being out there in front of that many. Right. That's not the same. But, you know, you see that WrestleMania thing. I think it's pretty dope that they're going to have the UFC, WWE, TKO weekend that's going to have, like, they got the PBR, then you got Raw, then you got UFC all in the same city like that. I love the combat, like the connection between the two. I've always said it for years, not only on the show, but off the show. The connection that there is between pro wrestling and MMA, and the fact that they're crossing brands is cool as hell to me.
I really what they can bring with that could be huge. I mean, it absolutely could be. I think if they leaned into it a little further with what they already kind of do with like the WrestleMania week festivities and stuff like that, if they were able to round more of a like make it a yearly or bi-yearly thing where they do it, you know, every 6 months or something, where it's like big UFC event, big wrestling event, also tie it up with like, I know they also own the skate league, I can't think of the name of it at the moment, but the competitive skate league, and then the bull wrestling thing. If they were able to put on a big, you know, fan-centric event in some place, I mean, the sky's the limit with something like that. I mean, like you say, a lot of the fans are all tied in, you know, same age demographic, and a lot of them kind of cross-pollinate each other. So really a lot of growth for something like that, especially if you get a good popular city where, you know, a lot of people would want to visit.
Well, with that said, it looks like the ruthless one, Robbie Lawler, is going into the Hall of Fame, which, if that's the case, nobody better for my money for that, because Robbie Lawler is a dog.
Yeah. That's everybody's favorite fighter's favorite fighter. Like John Anik said in the opening introduction to his Hall of Fame introduction here. And hard to disagree with, honestly. Robbie Lawler was that guy for so many years. He just, win, lose, draw, he came out there and really gave that true performance of what he was and who he was. He really laid it out on the line. That Robbie Lawler or Rory McDonald fight really showcased that in such a way where he was able to just really out-hard him. And you've seen that in so many different fights, whether it was just out-powering guys, hitting them, with everything he's got, never ending until the last bell, whether he had to go out on his shield or not. Robbie Lawler was just always one of those guys.
That slam was so fucking gnarly. He's gonna take your head off. That's like fighting the boogeyman, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Him being an old school Militich guy like that, dude. Like, people don't remember Militich fighting systems, man. They had some killers coming out of there between him and Matt Hughes and Josh Neer.
Yeah, he was fighting before it was cool. He was fighting before it was a million, made people millions, and he was fighting when it was up, really on its uprise. And he's one of the people that made this sport to the level that it is now with the performances he is able to showcase to the fans and stuff. And then just look at all the, the UFC does a good job with these, introduction ceremonies, but a lot of these moments, man, they were real. We got to see him, be that young-looking kid with the pumped-up muscles to then turn into what we seen him later end up being, which is a UFC champ and a high-level fighter, all action throughout his whole career. A true fighter, as the little video production just said with Dana's voice there. A true fighter. Hard to argue with.
Anybody who's watching, do we got favorite Robbie Lawler fights?
Yeah. I was just trying to think of mine. I mean, the obvious one's the Rory McDonald one, but any of the sleeper moments. I mean, he had some amazing ones in his career.
I don't know, man. I still like Amanda Lemos in this fight.
Yeah, I felt the same way talking about it on the show, and I still do. I feel like, but yet again, we've just seen in that last fight yet again that these
She's
new
not been getting beat up though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby Green's gone through wars. Lemos ain't got beat up like that.
Yeah, but it just seems like, I don't know. There's this thing, I mean, you see it all the time. The UFC, or should I say Vegas, always does a good job showing that in the odds that, these younger fighters, man, what is it, like 70% of the time end up with the victory or something like that? It's just a wild statistic.
She's like the silent killer.
Do I know what happened with Disney Plus? Dude, we were well, remember Disney Plus and ESPN Plus are all in there.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out what was going on, trying to get the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So we were having issues with it too. It kept saying it couldn't find my account, yet I was logged into it on my phone and on the computer. This is why I hate the way they do pay-per-views, because then if the app fucks up, we're all screwed.
Yeah. And the fact that they don't give you a secondary option, there's no like fail safe essentially, or no like workaround, like you say, the fact that you're literally relying on just the same 5 different ways to access your account and then purchase the thing. And it's just, I mean, we were doing everything we could. That's the stream ended up starting almost 20 minutes late just because of that fact that it took us everything we could just to figure out a way to bring you guys an actual watch along that wasn't just us watching along to not paid for a stream. So we had to do what we could to actually find a way to pay for the dang stream. It's wild. I mean, ESPN, I mean, I'm sure they have heard millions of complaints about it to this point. I know Luke Thomas, MMA journalist, did a really good piece on it on one of the pay-per-views a couple months back. But they're notorious for having issues, man. And you would think with them not having a ton of other pay-per-view options on the app, like they'll present the rare boxing one and stuff like that. But other than that, this is usually it. Once a month, you'd think they'd be able to anticipate what's being brought and find a way to fix it in some regard, at least.
Like I said, Philly B, I don't know. I like lane motion this fight, but Mauricio, I agree with you 100%. They got to figure something out with this app stuff, bro.
Yeah, wild.
Because you want everybody to pay $80 of pay-per-view for to watch the fights, and then the app don't want to work.
It ain't even a true $80. They want you to pay 80 plus the tax on the head too. It ain't like it's 80 out the door. They're like, here's $80 towards us just to watch them. And it's a lot of times these fights, like we were talking about earlier, that this is a decent pay-per-view.
It's top heavy. The co-main and the main are good, but we don't really get cards like you used to get, like back in the day where they were stacked from start to bottom. Dana says they want to do that with this new boxing promotion. That's
Until
cool.
They build up a fan base enough to sell,
But we've seen the reports that they're saying that the UFC might do away with their pay-per-view model because there's clearly plenty of people who are having issues with it.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I mean, I know that a lot of the rumblings are Netflix is the next, home for the UFC. I would love it to see it.
Well, WWE took Raw over there. It would make sense why TKO would do that. But even if you did like what Phil said, there's talks about it being UFC Fight Pass. I have UFC Fight Pass. I could gladly buy it on UFC Fight Pass.
At least, like I was saying earlier, give us a secondary out so that it's not an only through us. It's mandatory, and you can only do it through these 1 or 2, 3, 4 holes that, you got to basically all but do workarounds just to be able to find a proper way to do the thing. And it's like, that's not to grow the sport.
And having issues with the app doesn't have nothing to do with people trying to get it on an illegal stream, bro. Like that's like I'm talking about on the ESPN Plus app trying to purchase the damn thing. No, I know, but I'm talking about for those that are watching. I'm not talking about, I can't find it on a stream, so I'm having an issue.
We can't find a way to submit our payment to find it. We ended up finding it. It's just such a pain. It's just literally such a pain.
We got it to work, but this is why they have so much issues. That's why I hope with all the talk of there being a different way to get it and a different app setup, that they'll be able to fix some of this issue.
I mean, you would think with us being this far into it, at some point they'd figure something out.
You're not wrong. There's the blonde hair, you know, like we see with Charlie do Bronx all the time.
Yeah, a lot of Slim Shadys down in Brazil, that's for sure.
And I remember the days of getting ready for sparring and having to keep a bottle of your own Vaseline and witch hazel and shit in your bag. And for when you'd spar, because you didn't want to use nobody else's Vaseline to grease your shit up.
Look at that age gap.
Yeah, man, you're not wrong. I think the latest percentage that they had on that stuff was that it was 69% of the time the younger fighter wins, which I mean, you're not wrong, but again, I feel like this is the same kind of situation in a way with what we had with Justin Gaethje minus her getting knocked out, you know what I mean? Because she may be older, but she's got all the experience against all the big names.
Yeah.
Like they were just talking about her beating Mackenzie Dern and all of them as well. So, but she could be the next up and coming killer to take her spot. Yep. Wow, that's another good stat that she's 2-4 as a UFC dog. So her being the underdog has never really worked out that well for her.
No. But she is only a slight dog in this one. But that being said, I mean,
I'm just saying, based off that stat, and again, stats don't win fights, but
absolutely not. But they showcase something, that's for sure. Whether it's trends towards positive or trends towards negative, and this one's definitely a negative.
Lemos seems to be fighting just like she does any other time. And another good point by Philly B, I mean, she has gotten better with age. So again, that's why I'm saying this reminds me a lot of what we're going to see with Justin Gaethje.
A lot of women have. It's an interesting thing with the women's side of MMA that they.
Well, the skill level in women's MMA has really started to uptick in the last 5-10 years because of the rise of women's MMA. So I mean, it makes sense why there would be a big jump in skill levels because now you're training on such a high level.
Yeah.
And the talent pool of women's MMA.
I'm just saying, as like they seem to age a little better in that regard. Where typically when you're talking these women, they fight at the lower weight classes, right? Like there is no UFC, women's heavyweight or nothing like that. So we're talking, 125, 115, 135. And typically when you see male fighters of the 35 plus in those divisions, they really slow down a lot. Where you
capoeira kick.
Where you see it with the women, it's not typically to the same degree. It's like, if anything, they maybe find a different stride in their career where, they might not have the same level speed, but they still have the power and they really deliver it in a different way. They figured out how to put their positives out on display during the fight. Where I feel like a lot of the men, like I said, 35 plus, they start to really show the age gap a lot more, at least, than the women's side.
I mean, this is a good move for Lucinda so far, but the other problem with this is even though this wears Lemos out, it's going to wear Lucindo out too. See, and look right there. I mean, there's that experience again.
Yeah, but with the way the rules have changed so much now, it's so interesting to me. Like the top position doesn't mean as much as it used to anymore. And the fact that so many of these girls have gotten better, like right now, chasing for the submission attempt and stuff like that. Not even
sure,
just
but the
girls
way
in
she
particular,
reversed that takedown, like she's trying to use her body weight to wear her opponent out, and it's getting reversed again because of the skill of Lemos. To Phil's point about how she's gotten better
she
with
busted
age.
her open too.
That's another thing. You start bleeding when somebody's landing them elbows on you on the top, bro. That's a problem. She's being active though, but she's trying. She looks like she's looking for armbar or triangle right now. She looks like it with the way that she's using her guard, the way she's swinging herself off to the side. She looks like she's got a good guard, but the problem is with her head being jammed up into the cage, she's going to have a hard time getting an angle to finish any of that. Yeah. She got to be careful of that cut too.
She doesn't have the level of movement she needs to actually find an arm or.
She's got to be able to isolate an arm. That's the problem. Getting that hip up over the shoulder. She's not going to be able to rotate enough to be able to do that there. Nice elbow from Lemos, and that's right on where that cut was. Looks like Lemos wants him to stand him up. There's another nice elbow.
This break.
I don't know about inexperience, but I mean, again, I think you've got in the same way you can say with the younger fighter having the advantage to being young, that experience of Lemos is really kind of showing through. I wonder what the 1981's for. Woo! Slice and dice. Wink. Ooh, that elbow was pretty. Ooh. I was just talking about how they showed the elbow that cut her open. That was nasty.
Yeah, I missed it in real time. I mean,
She cut her before they went to the ground.
oh, it was before. Yeah.
She threw a jab right elbow and cut her.
Seems like Lucindo hasn't been able to figure out her range yet. Like that takedown really
Well,
staggered
I was
her
gonna
game.
say I think she's worried about being. Woo!
We're having her leg taken out from under her.
That'll fuck you up too, man. And now she's trying to wrestle. We already saw that she got reversed the first time. I don't know if this is the way to go, but
I mean, if you're unable to figure out range, though, this is ultimately being a second out of three round fight.
yeah. But look at Lemos already digging that underhook in. Now she's got double underhook. She's gonna turn her. See, there you go.
Yeah.
You can't win when your opponent's got double underhooks unless you're just the Hulk. And she's starting to reap that leg too, so she's either going to try to trip her or run the pipe there. Oh, almost got her with the sweep. Well, I mean, if you guys are listening, I mean, you listen to what Joe Rogan's saying. I mean, he's saying she's scared of the striking difference. Well, there's a grappling difference too, clearly. This is again what I was talking about, that experience factor. Yes, she might be the young gun, but Amanda Lemos isn't worried about, in my opinion, the young buck coming up. This is just another day in the office where
she's doing a really good job of tying her up, landing shots that are keeping it busy, bringing her
and
the
she
fight
gets
to
the
ground.
takedown again. And I mean, again, you talk about the the experience of Lemos, I mean, this is just another day in the office where for Lucindo, this is her biggest fight of her career. Might not be the most exciting of performances we've seen from Lemos, but dude, I think she's
definitely clearly winning though. At least
she's doing damage on the ground too. Like she's not just sitting on top of her either. There's another elbow as I say that.
Yeah, if the round ends this way, she's definitely up 2-0. And to your point, Kyle, it's definitely not just like some ho-hum ground,
No, and for those that are watching that have never trained, man, you can't be just throwing punches on somebody the whole time you're on top of them. Then you're a sitting duck to be submitted or over punch and miss, and then your opponent, reverses you. This is exactly what you're supposed to do. Pick your shots, land good shots, be landing shots at a good rate so they can't stand you back up. And, I mean, Lucindo is looking out so much for getting hit, she can't throw her hips up to get the triangles or the arm bars she's looking for. See, and now her being on her back, Lemos is doing a good job of using the cage to her advantage and stuffing her head.
Yep.
Exactly what I was saying before the fight. And this, even if it does go to a decision win, this is a dominant win for Lemos too.
Yeah, at least to this point for sure.
And she did damage again. We can't stress that enough. Sure, she took her down twice, but look at her face.
Another
and,
elbow.
Like we talked about while Corey was, draining the vein. The elbow landed on the feet.
No, for Lemos, I have no, as a true MMA fan, I have no issues at all.
I know. I'm just saying that in terms of you hear the boo birds and stuff, but bro, she's been beating her up this whole fight. You look at the control time. That is the perfect example of when control time is all right to me. I don't have a problem with there being a lot of control time because she's bashing her face up. There's another good shot right on cue.
Well, there's nor when you hear control time, typically, especially if that's an argument for which way the round's going and stuff, you hear that as a wrestler that didn't necessarily do much with the position, but they had 3 minutes and 30 seconds of control time. So it's well, that has to weigh for something, right? Because they controlled most of the round.
They got to be telling her she needs to finish.
With that being said, I mean, when you're talking that type of control time that Lemos was just putting on, where there was strikes from the top position, it was constantly progressing forward, whether it was trying to chase for that half guard instead of full guard, looking to posture up and land good shots, throwing elbows, digging, even when she did have Lemos did have her tied up, she was able to kind of land some good shots from those positions and stuff too. So clearly 2-0 for me. I mean, we'll see what Lucindo can do here.
But this is what we were talking about before we went live. The way it seems some of these judges are scoring this one, it seems like it could be wild, but I don't know how you could score that anyway but 2-0.
Vegas is usually a little better than some of the wild cards.
But I mean, look at the score we saw earlier. How can two judges have it 29-28 while the other judge has it 30-27 for the other guy?
That's true.
That's wild. That's like so far on the opposite end of the spectrum. Woo, big shot. Whoa, and drops her. Come on now, bro. If this isn't 30-27 minimum, like, shout out to Lucindo. Lucindo's a dog and is in there, but dude, Amanda Lemos is having a damn good performance so far.
On her own, though.
Agreed. Like I said, that's that dog. See, but we're already seeing a little bit of difference, like in what Lucindo's being able to do. Like, she's wrapping up the head, but like Lemos was landing shots from the minute they got down there, or when she was standing over top of her. Like Lemos hasn't, or Lucindo hasn't even really thrown a ton. Yeah. And you can see Lemos keeps getting her guard back.
I mean, that half guard position, the shots don't look like they're bringing the same type of damage that.
Well, she's not landed anything of note yet. Like Lemos was landing big punches, big elbows, big shots the whole time she was, trying to progress. I'm not mad at Lucindo for trying to pass the guard in advanced position, but she's got to land some good shots, or just Lemos holding on is going to eventually make the referee stand this shit up. Mm-hmm. There you go. See, now she's in a good position. She could crucifix her arm. She could go Keiza Katami. I mean, there's a lot of things she can do from there.
Curious, Kyle, if she starts doing a lot more damage from this position, right? Is this, how much damage does somebody have to do from this position in your eyes, without barring a finish, of course? For you as now a Michigan State judge, to judge.
I mean, she's got to get about as close as you can get to stopping that fight, without stopping it, because just landing shots.
Yeah. Well, that's
she's
why
at the very least got to cut her open.
Yeah, because it's been a dominant performance in this round, but
she's not landing shots though. See what agree. I mean? Like that's my thing. Like, if I'm looking at it from a judge's eyes, she's doing great. Like, the grappler in me loves all the transitions and all that stuff. But when we're talking about winning a fight, she's not throwing up different submission attempts. She's not landing big shots. Like, yes, she's controlling the round, but is it anywhere near enough to be a 10-8? Not in my opinion.
Not at least to this point so far. And I agree with you. I just wanted to get.
No, I get it. Yeah, no. And like I said, to my opinion, she needs to be doing damage, or like, even if she wasn't doing a ton of damage, let's say she went arm triangle and then switched to an anaconda, then switched to a guillotine, then switched to all these different things, and is just wearing Lemos out, then sure. But as you can see, as we're talking, Lemos back to her knees and back to her feet. Yeah. So, and took her down. So now that's no fucking way it can be a 10-8. And if Lemos starts bashing her with some shots, Lemos can still win this round. She's got a minute and a half left.
Looks like Lemos is just kind of happy with controlling the position, though. Riding out the end of the round, not necessarily worrying about which way this round scored.
Well, because you got to think, if you're her, that she thinks she won the first two rounds.
I mean, absolutely. To me, it was very clear.
That's why I'm saying. So, I mean, now you reversed her after having her on top of you for that long and wrote her out for the last minute and a half. That pretty much negates a lot of what she did in the round.
Anybody in the comments, which way do you score this? I'm assuming
Well, Philly's already got his up there. He's got 2-0 Lemos.
Yeah, but I'm saying we're counting now this third round now that we're at the end of this. I'm assuming it's a pretty clear 29-28.
There's another elbow. Lemos beat her up, bro. That's Lemos' fight.
Yeah.
What the hell? They stopped the round 3 seconds early? And then we asked about the judges.
You hear what Rogan said? I said, come on, man. We got Jalen Turner. We got Bahamondes. It's just, come on, move it forward, man. We know what the last 5 seconds are. No. That being said, I love that performance from Lemos. I mean, it's not going to necessarily win
that
the most
leg
fans.
kick is nasty.
It's not going to win the most fans or whatever, but it was dominant throughout. I think it could be a 30-27. I personally I would score it a 29-28 because I thought that third round Lucindo did enough. I thought
she did 0 damage. Lemos took her down, reversed her, then took her down.
Yeah, with a minute 30 left after being held.
On top of already having over 5 minutes of control time.
In the other rounds, though. You can't.
Sure, but she did more damage with what she did on the top.
Third.
Lucindo didn't do shit on the ground. She didn't even go for a single submission.
No, but she did throw a couple elbows. And
that didn't land.
The pot shots.
That didn't do as much damage as the ones that Lemos threw.
In the third round? I disagree. I feel like the third round was...
We'll find out in the scorecard, but I bet you 30-27, or it should be.
I mean, Lucinda, either way, it has no real impact on how the fight actually played out, ultimately.
You can see it in her face.
Mm-hmm. All three.
If you asked how I scored, I would have scored it 30-27, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, because of the fact that it was the later part of the round, she was able to reverse it.
It didn't even have to do with the later part of the round. It just, for me, she just, like when Lucindo was on top, she wasn't doing any damage. She wasn't threatening submissions. It wasn't like she got to mount and like just had her smothered out to where she's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, to me, those are the things that make a takedown dominant. Remember, they told us we're not supposed to judge it anymore based on just somebody holding somebody down.
Yeah.
So if we're not supposed to judge it on somebody just holding it down and somebody gets on top of somebody and doesn't land any shots, doesn't go for submission, to me, that's not an effective part of the part of the round, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, I think the judges got at least 2-1 right, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I say, it was definitely clear in my eyes, either 29-28 or 30-27. Either way, Lemos won the fight, and that's all that ultimately matters at the end of the day, right? But that being said, what do we got up next? I'm forgetting.
Jalen Turner.
Oh, yeah. Like they just said, Jalen Turner. You're correct. That Jalen Turner fight actually does have me very excited. I'm hoping we see an evolved version of Jalen Turner. I know he had mentioned in his media days and stuff, taking this last couple, basically year off, almost 11 months between fights to be able to really
actually with a team this time.
Yeah, to be able to really round out his skills, especially focusing on his ground game and stuff, so that wasn't such a deficit in his game, at least so he felt. So being that he's now matched up against a striker, a young up-and-comer, I think it's interesting to see, does he lean into the wrestling potentially? Does,
This fight they're showing right now, though, I'm looking forward to seeing these two scrap.
I mean, honestly, that pay-per-view kind of takes the Dukes on this one, huh?
I mean, kind of hard to argue. Past guest of the show, Michael Chandler, is always good to see on my TV. The fact they got Diego Lopez and Volkanovski now for the vacant featherweight championship now. You've got Patty versus who's Patty fighting again?
That's the Chandler one.
Yeah, no, right. That's right. Patty and Chandler. I'm sorry, dude. And on
Bryce
this fight,
that huge Bryce Mitchell, John Silva fight.
that's the one I was trying to think about.
Yeah,
I meant to say the John Silva Bryce.
That
Mitchell.
one's really got some hype on it. I mean, obviously Bryce Mitchell, said some dumbass things like he like a Bryce Mitchell might. But that being said, I think it's real interesting to see what this fight might bring because I think John Silva a killer, right? And we've seen what he's been able to do to guys. He ran through his last opponent.
Bryce Mitchell's a big step up, but it also depends on how much all this stuff is getting in Bryce Mitchell's head, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that said, the co-main and main got me ready to go. Plus, that Jeff Neal and Pratis is going to be dope too.
Jim Miller
took the
Chase
words
Hooper.
out of my mouth.
Fight. Dan Ige, Sean Woodson. That's going to be so interesting. Short versus tall. Yair versus Pitbull.
I am so stoked about seeing Pitbull in the UFC. This is so long overdue.
Yeah, absolutely.
For those of you who are new to Pitbull, Pitbull has been one of the best featherweights in the world, lightweights too, because he had both the belts.
Mm-hmm.
He's been one of the best in the world for years. And anyone that says that he wasn't on the same level as the 55 champions, the 45 champions, is a damn fool.
Well, I think he has the potential to still make the big splash like Michael Chandler did right now and is still doing, right? Like we were just talking about how that co-main event is, for that exact pay-per-view is Michael Chandler for that reason because of the raw entertainment factor that he brings to his fights. And
the
stuff.
crazy thing is we talk about this every time he fights, though. If he would just wrestle.
Yeah, but we've seen him try to wrestle and it doesn't always work.
But wrestling wrestling out of necessity versus wrestling because that's your game plan are two totally different things. Yeah, sure. If I could be an NCAA champion wrestler, but if I wait until you rock my shit to try to shoot in to take you down, am I going to be as quick and elusive as I would be if I was planning to try to take you down?
The
No.
guy who subbed the shit out of Bobby Green, though, I don't think that's the guy that you want to start implementing wrestling against either, though.
I'm just saying if he mixed that up.
Wow. Jalen Turner's the underdog, huh? Wow. They really do lean towards these new up and comers and just the rising talent and stuff on these Vegas odds, huh? Wow. Jalen Turner wins against some of the top level guys in the division, and even the losses that he has, especially, I mean,
bro,
we don't have time.
It's that age thing, bro.
They're not even a big age gap.
Doesn't matter. They more often than not, they almost always make the younger guy the favorite, especially when it's a guy like this.
If I'm not mistaken, it's only a 2-year age gap.
But even if it is, when it's a guy like this that's on a record of knocking motherfuckers out, and Jalen Turner's coming off of one. Look at what they did with Justin Gaethje. You're telling me Justin Gaethje should be an underdog right now against Fiziev when he already beat him?
Yeah. I mean, you can't argue it.
When he's already beat him like it wasn't like he just barely beat him either.
Yeah.
No, and that's no disrespect to Fiziev either. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I'm also really curious, not to spin it into a different point, but I'm also really curious how both guys deal with the size factor in this fight because they're both used to being significantly taller than the other. They're both like 6'3", 6'4" for the weight class. 155 is outrageous at that height. And for both of them to kind of be equal in size in this one, I'm really curious to see who can deal with that when they're used to fighting guys that are not quite up to their stature and stuff,
We're in a closet. We're in a whole room and studio. Cool, nice comment though.
I can stretch both arms.
We're
No
literally in a whole ass studio, but
Yeah,
you're still
we're
talking.
tight against the background. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so and you're still sitting here watching it. So thanks for watching. Those of you guys who are watching are regular watchers of Knockouts and Three Counts. We got a big week coming this week. Tuesday, PCO, the French Canadian Frankenstein, makes his return to the show, fresh off of leaving TNA. We're going to talk about Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, which is going down in Windsor, Ontario, Canada next weekend. We'll be talking about that. We also are joined Thursday by Yuli Diaz, who happens to be the owner of the fastest bare knuckle knockout in history, and he'll be fighting for Mike Perry's Dirty Boxing as well. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about him being married to now TNA's Ash by Elegance and him getting involved with wrestling and all kinds of things. So if you guys are new here, make sure you check us out Tuesday and Thursday. We haven't had him on yet, Philly B, but yes, Yuli Diaz will be joining us Thursday, and then Tuesday, PCO will be joining us back as well.
Yeah, excited for that Yuli Diaz one. I was following his bare knuckle career for years, and to see he really made a huge splash initially with the actual BKFC, and then it seemed like when BYB was doing their big transition and signing a lot of guys and stuff, he started to go fight over there to a little more mixed results, but still put on some amazing fights.
And he's dipped his toes in the commentary too.
Yeah, and done a really good job too. I think he's somebody. He's a good character in fighting. He doesn't seem like he's putting on too much. He seems like he represents who he is to a degree, but maybe turns it up to just the slightest degree. So I'm excited to see what he can bring to the show come Thursday.
Also on that Maple Leaf Pro show that our buddy PCO is going to be on as fellow past guest of the show, four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty as well. Make sure you check out our friends at Millions and bodyslam.net as well.
Yeah, huge shout out to both of those platforms for doing what they can to help promote a local show like our own. Anybody in the greater Detroit area knows, we do a good job of trying to bring it all the local MMA talent, wrestling as well.
But don't get it twisted. We go worldwide, dog. We ain't just local MMA. We're bringing you biggest names in the world.
I feel like we still do a good job of dipping our toes.
We'll always have
a commentary and stuff for the local fights.
Absolutely, and we'll always have a footprint here in Michigan. There's no way that I always want to keep that, whether that's on the pro wrestling side, on the MMA side. I always want to keep a footprint here. But we are also one of the only spots in Michigan that's bringing you people from all over, having worked with WWE, Bellator, UFC, AEW, TNA all last year.
Yeah, definitely. When you look back at who we end up, having throughout the year and stuff like that, it ends up being quite the impressive roster year by year.
Already covered the Clarissa Shields fight that was here in the state and on the zone, which you can check that out, and shout out to everybody that checked that out.
Since you brought that up, what's your thoughts on the whole she don't smoke weed controversy?
It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. It's not tested for in pretty much anything. Even WWE's not tested for weed anymore. Like, why? Like, this is why we have so much problems getting big fights and things to Michigan.
And not only that, right? You're talking about in a state where literally they allow recreational.
And it was weed all up in there. I was in the press box. I'm just going to let you know, people were not blowing it outside. Let's throw that in the air.
You're telling me Flint didn't bother to step outside to light the blunt up? No way. Now, that being said, all jokes aside, I think it's crazy that in this year, when they allow as much as they do in the state and as much tax revenue is brought into the state because of that fact that they're going to then try to attempt to punish. And I don't say that they should be like showing any type of favoritism or anything, but the fact that they're going to try to then punish one of their state's own is just wild to me. And apparently it's, very minuscule amounts. And it's just, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, especially when 3 other fighters all failed too for little tiny amounts.
What are we doing? Yeah. In a state where I can legally, like, there's 10 dispos within a 5-mile radius, probably where we're sitting right now. I mean, it's just wild. Every billboard around the damn city's fucking. That being said, we're about to get the walkout or the Bruce Buffer introductions here, and like I said here on the show on Tuesday's breakdown of the pay-per-view and stuff with James Lynch. Shout out James Lynch, by the way. Huge respect to him. Has been covering the MMA field for years. Anybody unaware of his stuff, go follow James Lynch. Puts out some great interviews with the fighters and such. But, like we said on the show with him on Tuesday, man, I feel like Jalen Turner, with the time off and the potential improvement that we've seen in his game, I feel like the overall experience against top-level opponents and stuff, man, it should be enough to get him through in this fight, at least in my opinion. But we've seen Bahamondes really go out there and put on some top-level fights, at least entertainment level-wise, and had showcased a chin on him up to this point. So we'll see, man.
Oh, big shot already from Magoomed. I was going to say this before the fight. He's training out of VFS, which best gets to show Mondo Gutierrez, who's got a huge fight against Andre Ewell coming up. You've got Bilal Muhammad out of that camp. Cody Lynn, who's a past guest of the show, gets some training in there, as well as his home gym at Rockwell MMA.
Ooh.
Can I just tell you how much that hurts, even if you do block it with your arm? Whoa, that hurts too.
Oh, there's that wrestling.
Nice elbow. Good frame to posture up. Let's see if you can make. Oh, big shot.
Good job finding guard again.
Agreed. Oh, come on.
I'm really, like I said, I mean, with that amount of time off, and we always hear about fighters talk about, the level of improvement that you can make when you're so focused on weight cuts and such. It's kind of limited compared to what you can do just focusing on.
Oh, Bahamondes is throwing them hammers from the bottom, though. I mean, I don't suggest getting in a striking battle from your back, but
he's got Bilal Muhammad in the corner, huh?
That's what I was just saying. Him coming out of that VFS academy, him and Yair were all over in the lead up for this either. Oh, omoplata.
Oh.
Now he's looking for a triangle. Ooh, and and he turned the corner. That's tight. Oh, that's tight. Oh, and he taps him.
Man. Come on, my boy.
Man, when they turn that corner, Corey, I don't know if you've ever been in a triangle choke in your life, but your shit starts getting.
Yeah, but you got to feel that that's coming and immediately.
Yeah, but you don't have the ability to do that sometimes, because you got to realize by that point his other arm's already isolated. You only have one arm to fight it, and that's the one that's stuck in the thing. And if he's already turned the angle, now you have to go the other way to be able to even be able to hit him. Sometimes once you're fucked, you're fucked.
Yeah, I'm watching the replay now, and
There's no there's no room. Once he turns that angle is
well, right. Nah, not
you
quite.
can't
Right,
go that
not
way
yet,
because then he
not
goes
yet.
into the omoplata.
No, right there, you need to feel that the legs
But
are wrapped.
he's trying to posture up. That's why he's up on his knee. But see, when Magoomed turns that corner, there is no more room. And by him locking up that leg, that's what stops Turner from going around. He had him locked up in every way. He was fucked.
Man,
Bilal is hype, bro. Look at him.
yeah, what a choke is right. Really sunk it up. I mean, it's not every day that you see that level of work from the bottom.
He was looking good until he got caught. Well, then you're looking good in fantasy this month, Philly B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely some good picks on your end. As I've mentioned many of times on the show, I let my fandom make my picks and for me sometimes. And that being said, I've been a huge fan of Jalen Turner and what he's been able to bring to the division. I thought he was just a couple.
I thought Jalen was gonna get it too, to be honest. But man, that kid's a killer, bro.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just gonna say. Is I thought he was always just like in a couple of his big matchups, he was just like a couple. If he stepped up his level of activity 2 degrees, he would be. He could have been that guy for the last couple of years now, and ultimately to see Bahamendez go in there and find that submission in the first round the way that he did, work from his back, like we were saying, land some really good elbows. It wasn't like he just threw a hope and prayer submission up and it landed. He was doing really good work. He was landing hard elbows from his back and stuff. So to then ultimately find the submission, like we said in the replay, man, there was only a moment for him to be able to find himself free, and other than that, he really tied up every escape route and found the triangle choke and ultimately got the submission. And like I say, first round. You got to be happy with that if you're Bahamendez or his corner.
I mean, this is a big jump up for him, dude. See, and even what he's doing with that leg around the arm, that's giving. You can't just hike his leg up like that. If I make my leg heavy over the top of your arm, good luck trying to yank that bitch up.
Well, he did a good job too of tying up the free arms with his own arms. So while he was active with his legs, he was also tying up the arms, so he couldn't just reach up and push the legs out of position and try to worm his way out. Like I say, the only real option there was to totally flop yourself in that brief second. But other than that, man, there was no with how everything was so tied up. I mean, good luck. And here we go. Now it's co-main.
He's got to get Joe in his picture.
No.
Wow.
Wow. I hope not. I sure hope not. Jalen Turner, I know you lost some top level fights and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I don't know about retiring, but man, that's tough.
Well, when you're already second guessing yourself and you go into a fight like this with all that level of preparation and stuff like that, and then still don't get the outcome that you're hoping for, I understand the mental fortitude that it would take to be able to get through something like that. But that being said, he's too good in my eyes to just give up at this point. You know,
We're already about 4 or 5 fights in, my man. We just finished Magoomed versus Jalen Turner. You've got Justin Gaethje is up next against Rafael Fiziev, and then you got the main event, obviously with Poatan.
really curious how that Poatan Ankalaev one plays out. Anybody in the comments on that one, give us your thoughts. I mean, for me, I feel like I mentioned it on the show Tuesday yet again. Shout out James Lynch. Gonna say that every time I bring up my picks on that show, but always appreciate him coming on the show. But I brought up the fact that I feel like Poatan, he is that his danger factor is so much higher than Ankalaev's, where Ankalaev.
Oh man, they got Gaethje with gloves on that are all wore out.
He's been punching that bag, huh? No, but that being said, I feel like Ankalaev is the much more well-rounded game, right? He could wrestle. He could throw strikes. He could. Well, I'm just saying he's got the aspects, but he to me poses less of a finish threat. Where for Poatan, man, he lays his hand on you. It changes the fight real quick. You get him to get you on a wobbly leg, and that fight's over. I mean,
I hope that Rafael Fiziev did not
times.
put beard braids or oil in there, man, so he don't have a problem like Gervonta Davis.
As somebody who started their mixed martial arts career in the boxing realm, what's your thoughts on the way that whole fight played out?
I think Lamont Roach got screwed. I also do agree that I also do believe that there's something to be said for, you had to beat the champion. But I mean, dude, he was landing big shots. And the thing that sticks out to me with that fight is I don't really understand how the Tank one wasn't a knockdown. You can't just take a knee in the middle of the round. And if you would give him a 10-8 round, that wins Roach the fight.
Yeah. And that to me is already with the boxing style, cards where to me I felt like Roach was more ahead than they were giving him credit for. I feel like they were, to your point, they were giving the champ the credit of, it was 60-40, so we'll lean towards the champ.
Undefeated with 30-0 with 28 knockouts.
Yeah, but I feel like he said it himself that he's not as committed as he once was, and I feel like ultimately we've seen that on display in that fight. He did not look like the same level fighter.
Well, it's the same thing like we talked about on the show with Conor McGregor. He can't be as hungry as he used to be because now the money don't matter.
Yeah.
He's already got all the money that he could ever want. Now it's fighting because you want to, which I'm not saying Conor doesn't still want to, but I mean, it ain't the same as when you're fighting because you need that money to pay off your bills or get you a nicer house or whatever the case might be. Now that fight will be good. Vittori and Dolidze will be good.
That's another guy who coming off a very long break. If I'm not mistaken, his is like almost 2 years at this point. Because Vittori hasn't been in there in a very long time. Very curious to see what version of him we see coming next Saturday.
Wonder where Dan Hooker ends up.
He's on such a good win streak. I'm surprised he's even all the way up at 6, to be honest with you. I feel like we got... Would he be a great retirement fight for Dan Hooker? Or for, not for Dan Hooker, he is Dan Hooker, but for Dustin Poirier?
I mean, I could see that, but it sounds like they already got a name for Dustin Poirier.
I'm really wondering also who that one is. Because they're talking about throwing an event in Louisiana, which, great way to send them out. But, yeah, really curious who that could end up being. They're showing the replay now of that first fight between Fiziev and Gaethje, man. Talk about a war.
You talk about damage. Justin Gaethje turned his face into a canvas.
So my last fight against Gaethje,
I remember watching that, and I thought Fiziev won the first 2 rounds.
Edwards versus Brady is a good fight, man, but I think Sean Brady needs to win this fight a lot more than Leon Edwards does.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel the opposite way. I feel like Leon Edwards, coming off of that title loss, taking a significant break off, now coming back. It's another UFC London event. He's in the main event. He's got to represent for his hometown and this, that, and the other. And I feel like that's where he lost his belt last time. I don't know if the time thing is another, I don't know what time they plan on doing that event or whatnot. If it hopefully, because I don't mind the earlier cards myself. I actually find them a little more digestible than trying to stay up, till 1 o'clock on a Saturday just to watch some fights every time. But that being
I
said,
only didn't like him because I worked Saturdays, but
yeah, but the replays are always available if needed.
yeah, but who wants to watch a replay when everybody's talking about a fight, especially when it's a pay-per-view fight like the Australia fights that are big title fights, and you're telling me I'm gonna wait till 10 o'clock when everybody's already talking about what's happening, and then I gotta try to stay off social media to hope that I don't see anything of it.
Yeah, but for us non-weekend workers,
I don't work the weekends anymore either, but
I had to do it today, so I can't talk too much shit. But that being said,
exactly my point. So if the fight started at 1 o'clock, were you going to watch it?
Yeah,
No.
I would have watched it on my drive to work.
You ain't got a 4-hour drive.
Yeah. That being said, though, I feel like if the time thing works out in his favor, because I know he really complained about it in that last fight being a issue in that Bilal fight and why he lost his title. I don't know what time they plan on running it, whatnot, But
he got the fight in England, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but he fought at US pay-per-view time in England, so it was at like 6 a.m. or some shit. So yeah, he fought in England, but I mean, not much of an advantage in my opinion. So that being said, that's why I bring up I don't know what time they're running this next one. For me, I feel like Leon's got a lot to prove. He let a lot of people.
He's definitely got a lot to prove, but I'm saying if
he let a lot of people down in that last.
Sure, but if Sean Brady can't get past Leon Edwards, then how's he ever going to get up to the title? Because he's still not high enough in the rankings that if he loses this one, that he's not going to probably have the fight down.
I feel like when you're already proven UFC talent, like championship talent, right? Leon Edwards, those losses feel a lot when you're one fight removed from the champ.
There's more pressure maybe for Edwards, but if Brady can't win this fight, there's a good chance that it's gonna be even harder. Not even a good chance. It's gonna be even harder for him to work his way back to a title shot if he loses this one. Where Leon Edwards is realistically about 2 fights probably out of it.
Yeah. First fight in 533 days is a wild stat for Fiziev.
Ben was not putting on the bet. That's something that's really big to me. How much of an opportunity could the UFC this?
Yeah, I feel like how we were just talking about which one has more to prove. I feel like Fiziev definitely in this matchup have more to prove. Being especially the fact that he lost that first matchup. I personally thought he won it. Like I had just mentioned earlier, I thought he won the first 2 rounds, and I didn't feel like the difference was enough for a 10-8 in that third round. And if it was, to me, that still makes it a draw. But that being said, technically on his record, he's got a loss to Justin Gaethje. And so if he can come in here and even the odds.
Fiziev didn't fight that either.
Yeah. I mean, because
again, it's got to be judged by damage too, and he looked like he got the dog shit beat out.
Yeah, well, he did, but like I was saying earlier, in my opinion, he won the first 2 rounds. So, yeah, you got a 10-8 to draw then. Yeah, so that being said, I still think we have the real makings here for a top level fight. 3 rounds instead of 5, which could really bring some interesting. I think it's going to bring a lot more pace out of both of these fighters and willingness to not just linger around in the fight. They both know what's up for grabs in this one. That's for sure.
I'm bummed that we're getting to the end of Justin Gaethje fights because I'm bummed I've never been to one yet.
Yeah, no shit.
I need to go to a UFC again, period. It's been a long time since I've been to a UFC. You've never even been to one yet.
Sure haven't because,
those tickets were not that expensive back in the day.
No, they weren't. But my level of fandom back then and my level of income back then were different, right? I was a kid and I was just
when UFC Detroit happened.
Yeah, that was
2018 or no 2019.
No, it wasn't.
Or it was 2018. Yes, it was.
No, it was.
Bet.
Look it up. $17.
Okay, so 1 year before that. So we're talking 8 years ago.
Yeah, 8 years ago when my first daughter was born and my second one was literally on the way. Yeah. But that being said, it's still, to me, it's inexcusable that we have one of the top 10 metropolitan populations, and we haven't gotten an event in nearly 10 years.
Well, that's because of certain reasons that we won't talk about it. He's such a chill dude for being such a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is fucking ferocious in the cage, and you would never know it. Man, you see that? That one glove's got no UFC on it at all. No shit, they neither one of them do.
Wipe them down. At this point, it's rubbed off. Wipe it off.
I wonder if Fiziev do.
Well, we've seen them in the back of his were wiping off, but they were still there.
Yeah, but not completely gone. Those don't even look wiped off. Those look just completely gone.
Yeah.
Fiziev's got the UFC things on.
What's your thoughts on them moving back gloves after all that, talk?
I don't think there's much you can do other than to start taking points, dude.
Well, I'm just saying in the fact of like they made this whole big thing about how these new gloves, they put all this research and development, and then they used them for what, 3 months? And they're like, there's a couple less knockouts. And to me, that's probably just matchups. That's probably just the way the cards, played out. That's the way the cookie crumbled on those particular events. I don't think it necessarily has to deal with the gloves itself. But to then vice versa, see how the last two events have played out in eye pokes, and when the whole mission of those new gloves was to hopefully control the eye pokes.
You can't control the eye pokes because motherfuckers are going to have their hands open and try to grapple with them. You either have to start taking points or there's nothing you're going to do. Because you can't fight. The closest thing you're going to get is maybe if you had them fighting like essentially the training gloves. But
The mittens. But then you really limit the grappling applications because then you can't use your fingers at all.
You can, but it's much more restricted.
Co-main event time. Let us know who you got.
See, those don't look like they ever had the UFC on them. Those look like they're brand new gloves that they never got to paint.
No, I think he was punching the shit out of the bag.
But there's not even any like resemblance of a logo of it on it. The ones he had on when he was warming up still had them worn off. Those don't look like they had anything on them. Not,
Well, I would imagine they didn't want to take the time to wrap his hands 5 minutes, 10 minutes. 20
so
minutes.
that's why I'm saying I bet
they
they're probably
just
a new
peeled-
pair.
Oh, you think? I think they just peeled the paint off both of them and called it a day. Because you can see a little white still on that guy. Just the one dot of it.
I don't know, but
Yeah, UFC logo's going. Even the commentary teams mention it. USA chance early. Love to see it, boys.
Chris Weidman is even having issues with ESPN Plus. Get your fucking shit together.
Ooh. Zeeb with the takedown. Who was expecting this? Oh, Gaethje back up, though. Takes a knee for his troubles, though. Another takedown attempt from Zeeb. Wow. Good reversal from Gaethje. Wow. What a tie-up, though. Zeeb with the butt in the face. Ooh. Wow, he's got him tied up.
I mean, it's going to be a nasty control spot, but really this limits what Fiziev can
If you're
do.
Fiziev, though, if I'm in this position, man, I'm raining down body shots. I'm making this.
Yeah, but you have to be mindful of him trying to take you down too, though. If you swing too hard, you fuck up your center of balance and make yourself easier to be able to take him down. We all know Fiziev doesn't really want to wrestle with him. That's smart, but
I mean, you say that, but he was talking about it on the Ariel show, how he wanted to make this a lot more measured of a fight and not fight his typical style and maybe implement some wrestling and kind of mix it up and make it a multifaceted fight. And
nice uppercut.
To this point, that's what we've seen. Gaethje landing his first real good shot. Oh, there was a decent one too.
Gaethje just hits so hard, dude.
Mm-hmm.
My decision would be a good for a number 3 rematch.
You wouldn't, but
I don't know with the amount of fights that Gaethje's talking like he has fights left, that if he did lose this one, I don't know that he'd run that back again. Then again, if Fiziev wins this one, though, it's going to jump him up the rankings, so they could run it back. So it could. Uh-oh, here you go. Now here's Gaethje using some of his wrestling. Or at least I'd like to see him change levels and then crack him with a hook on the way back up. Oh, big right hand. I think now we know why that's part of the game plan. I think Fiziev knows you don't want to box with Gaethje.
man, like I say, he brought it up on the show that he wanted to make.
Ooh, Gaethje playing with the takedown. And see, that's why I wanted to see him change levels, because there he goes and cracks him twice. Gaethje, I think, has done enough to win this round back, to be honest with you.
It's a real interesting one, at least on the scorecards for me. I feel like Fiziev did more, but he didn't. He looks like the one that
Gaethje landed the better shots. That's for damn sure. He might have wrestled him a little bit, but Gaethje definitely landed the harder shots on the feet.
A real interesting round on the scorecards, at least for me. I wonder.
I say 10-9 Gaethje. You guys who are watching, how do you score this one? Is it 10-9 Gaethje, 10-9 Fiziev? See, this stuff was all good, but if you watch through the rest of it, like, he almost messed up his own opportunities for being able to do a lot of damage on this. He had a dominant position, but like, he really did. But I felt like Gaethje really took that round over, though. It just in my, I'm just saying, in my opinion, watching it.
At least at the end, no doubt, he looked like.
And he was landing damage. Look at his face. See, he's got saying the same. Ty, I don't know.
Ty, 10-10.
I've scored a 10-10 round before.
Fiziev doing a good job of not being there to be hit.
See, Phil said the same 10-9 Gaethje just because he finished the round stronger and the damage. Which, remember, they talk all the time about how damage is supposed to be judged more seriously.
Thing, you know.
And I mean, if we're talking shot by shot, there's no arguing that Gaethje did more damage, because look at Fiziev's face. Herzog catching the nut shot. He could, though. I mean, he could be. We've seen Gaethje get tired, but I think he's used to fighting fives. I think he'll be fine in a 3-round.
I couldn't imagine he's already tired to that point just because of
that was
two
right
grappling exchanges. I don't think that's enough to.
Good job being off this now.
This flight's flying by.
Oh, big shots from Gaethje. Gaethje is still throwing them bombs, though. Whoa, there's another good one. Ooh, another nice right hand.
Ooh.
Ooh, in the hook. Damn, damn is right. He is landing shots, bro. Good lordy.
Yeah, this one definitely appearing more to be a Gaethje round.
Right, but Gaethje's fought how many 5-round fights though in a row though? This is a 3-round fight. Nice body shot. I like that. I don't know that I've ever seen this in a real UFC fight where they just don't have any UFC on. Oh! Damn, those are big shots. Man. And you can see it on his face. Look at the bruising on his eyes getting worse. Oh, let's go, Kazib. I like it. Oh, there's another one over the top, though.
Both guys trading.
Here we go. Woo!
It really seems like whoever's going first is just landing in the
Golly, dude. Gaethje just, every time he swings, this looks like he's coming to knock your head off. See what I'm saying? I'd love to see Gaethje keep mixing up the level changes because then every time he comes back up, he's cracking the piss up.
Well, I think that's his defense to what I was saying.
Damn it. That overhand right is crushing him.
He's doing a good job of taking the damage, though.
I agree, but you can only do that so long.
Yeah, it looks like Vegas has got Gaethje up as well.
I don't know how you can at this point. I picked Gaethje on the show, but I'm just saying, watching what we're watching. Fiziev looked very great at the beginning of round 1.
Oh, big knee, though, from Fiziev.
And he's landing his shots, but Gaethje is just, every time he's hitting them, it seems to just be, it's right on cue. What I say, man. The shots he's hitting them with. Guillotine him. Hit him with the gilly. Or just stand back up, bro. I'm just having him stand back up, dog. Just stand up, Justin, and uppercut his ass when he gets up.
Boink.
Dude, look out for that guillotine, though. He's not even worried about the choke. Whoa, and another one on the way up, dude. Fiziev is tough, man.
Oh.
Man.
Definitely a Gaethje round, man.
Better be.
Kyle on his scorecard has it 20-18, but me personally, I think it's
20-18 at the least, because that last round he beat the shit out of Fiziev.
Personally, I've got it 19-19 going into this third. I'm wondering if Fiziev's going to be able to figure out his wits after that tremendous uppercut that Gaethje was able to land. You've seen he hooked the hand behind the head. It really, planted that freaking uppercut.
Man. Look at the swelling on his cheek and over his eye from them right hands. Look at the contusion on the outside of his eye.
Yeah, I don't know who was saying in the comments about Gaethje looking gas, but right now he's definitely looking the fresher fighter, at least to me.
See, he says 2018. Philly seeing what I'm seeing.
I'm not.
This is KO round 3. Fizzy's got to go for the kill.
Yeah,
he has to.
Because you can't
or at least win this round dominantly.
Yeah. I feel like neither guy can be confident in that first round. That's really
you be confident in that damn second round.
Yeah,
bro.
oh yeah. Gaethje laid him on it.
Fiziev got beat up in that second round, dude. Ooh, nice hook. Woo!
Like you were saying,
boxed him up.
That duck under that Gaethje's doing,
bro. The level change,
range, man. It's really
level changes make it so hard to know. Oh, hey. Yeah, but in close, Gaethje boxing the shit out of Fiziev, dude. Nice leg kick. Ooh, looking for that overhand right that's been cracking on the whole fight. Well, there's another one. That overhand right and that uppercut have been nasty.
Yeah, Gaethje looking sharp tonight for sure. This is one of those fights too, man, where it just seems like one wrong move.
Oh, another big right.
Wait. Like I was just saying, man, one wrong move by either guy, dude, and you just put yourself in a position where both guys just look like they're throwing, real fight enders. But both of these guys with just the chins of
the calmness which Gaethje just stands there to throw punches at people. He just, here you go. Here you go. Take this one. Take that one. Take this one. Take that one. Here you go. And now Fizzy's trying to get his get back. Look at that. I thought that was Jared Goff. Where's the Jared Goff chant? What do I always say about the body, bro? There's another one of those rights. Look at how bad that swelling's going to be. Holy jeez.
This is a real close round, though, at least for me.
Fiziev's going to be hurting tomorrow, man. Damn.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. This has been his best round, in my opinion. He's hit better shots this round than he did in the first round. Ooh, he's timing that uppercut. There it goes again.
3 good shots in that exchange.
Nice knee to the body. I love the dirty boxing.
Yeah. It's good work for sure.
Watch out for the cornrow grease.
Ooh. Hit him with that ducking head kick.
We were saying the same thing. I got nothing. I don't know what happened with those gloves. I've never seen that in an actual UFC
he was
fight.
training in the back, boy.
Oh, there come them uppercuts again, bro.
Gaethje, big favorite to this point.
How can he not be? Just based on the damage alone. And that last round, he beat Fiziev up. Even if round 1 was close, you can't say 2 went any other way.
And I think he's slightly winning this round, at least in my.
I agree, and I thought he won round 1. I thought he stole round 1 based off of the work he was able to do. The takedowns
It
from
was
Fiziev,
definitely arguable.
I mean, Fiziev did great. I mean, I'm not saying those takedowns weren't good, but the damage is what's winning Gaethje this fight, dude. And you can see Fiziev's tired.
Ooh.
There it is again. Take him down.
Can you do any good work here against the fence in that round? But honestly, I don't even know that he needs to. To me, he's won this 3rd round, and that's enough to win the fight for him. If he's able to just control this position and kind of keep him up against the fence, maybe that's the best move for this last minute. Ooh, both guys with the kick.
Oh, there's that. Oh, Fizzy. Oh, you see how he paused?
Man, what a fight.
That's Gaethje, dog.
Yeah, that's Gaethje for sure, at least on my book. But that being said, what a fight from both guys. I mean,
hey, all respect to Fiziev too. He stood in there again, but if that's not Gaethje, I don't know what we're watching.
Yeah, to me that was definitely a Gaethje fight for sure. But
good bounce back fight for Gaethje too after that last one, because to take all them shots like that and be able to stand through them shows his chin's not gone.
No, he got cracked with some, especially like you say, that first and 3rd round. There were some good shots thrown that definitely rung the bell. That duck under just really making all the difference, in my opinion. I mean, look at all these replays. It just shows Gaethje was able to duck
The
under
level
the initial
changes,
shot.
overhand rights, and uppers.
Yeah, he is just able to duck under those initial shots and really avoid that power that Fiziev was bringing initially, and bring a counter shot from hell almost every time. Yeah,
Jesus. That was shin bone across the face. Can't argue that either, Philly.
yeah. To your point, Phil, Max was doing a really good job in that fight of making Max was doing a really good job of making Gaethje lead the dance, into which Max was ultimately able to do, like we were just, saying, where ducking under the shots and then retaliating, man. That's you see how effective it can be.
Let's never fight again.
Good point by Gaethje there. Shout out to Zeev for putting on that level of performance with such short level notice. Great post-fight speech. Really steps up after that last performance, after coming off of that knockout. And, to display that level of heart, Fiziev landed some really good shots, like we had mentioned. The chin held up real good for him. Looks in incredible shape, too. Looks like he didn't take that time off to, get fat, get old. If anything, he looks like he came in, a very sharp version of himself. So always excited to see what Gaethje brings in his next fight.
Big performance from Manel Kopp, but he was one of the ones we talked about on the show with the stuff with the eye pokes, man.
Yeah. Main event time.
Who's everybody picking? Let us know in the comments. We got about 7-10 of y'all in here. Who you guys got?
They're doing a lot of advertisement for that UFC 5 game. Anybody watching? You guys playing the game now that it's on Game Pass? Any thoughts on it?
I did a little bit, but I'd like to see more put into the story. I like that she fought backyard, but like the story just gets so repetitive.
Yeah, I agree. As somebody that's kind of been my move on all these sports games forever is just make do the career mode, play a season or two out and call it a day. And yeah, man, the only one that really seems to do a good job of it is NBA 2K, and unfortunately.
And speaking of which, now that it just dropped on Friday, WWE 2K has added the feature like NBA 2K has, where you can walk around like the world and like face different people, and like there's the open.
That's cool.
I haven't got to play it yet. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that plays out. But
yeah, they definitely kill it in that regard. I agree that they definitely do the best, But that being said, they've unfortunately leaned a little too heavy into the monetization side of it, where you can't be a half-ass decent player until you play 3 seasons. But that being said,
I mean, I feel like all of them have gotten like that, to where you got to buy the coins and all that shit, man. If you're gonna do it, fucking do it.
Yeah. I guess you ain't lying, but old school on me says I already paid for the game. That being said, main event.
Ain't no different than us buying battle passes on Call of Duty and whatever other fucking shooting game.
Yeah. Main event time, though. What you guys thinking?
We already got them in there. Poet time so far.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, that's how I'm feeling as well. I feel like Ankalaev doesn't represent quite as much of a finishing threat. Obviously, as Poetan, one of the most vicious finishers there is in the UFC. And I feel like 5-round championship level fight, man, Ankalaev really has to be on his P's and Q's, or actually try to implement that wrestling and see if it's actually successful for him. But in my mind, I feel like what they're displaying right now, Poetan spending all that time with Glover Teixeira and really trying his best to round out his grappling game, I feel like it very well could be enough to be the anti-wrestling that he needs to be able to really defend his belt, in this matchup, at least to me.
I took Pereira on the show. I still don't know that Ankalaev's going to do it, but he has the most complete skill set to do it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking who's the better MMA fighter, what would you answer that question with?
All around MMA fighters, Ankalaev.
So, who should win this fight then?
Who should win and who's going to win?
That's what my picks.
How often do I talk about momentum? Yeah. The momentum and ride that guy's on right now is nuts. He's not wrong when he says that he knows it's going to be a tough fight. I definitely think this is going to be a tougher fight for him. For everybody who's joining the stream, who you got main event time?
We're flying through this pay-per-view, though. Usually this main event ain't starting until around 1 o'clock. 12:15, they're playing us the promo. This matchup to me also it really how do I say it? Like, it really changes the direction of how the 205 whole landscape plays out. If Ankalaev wins the championship, you're talking Yuri Prohaska's now a fresh matchup. You're talking Jamal Hill, our boy from Michigan, has a chance to, coming off this Khalil Roundtree fight, could really work his way right back in. Same thing, Khalil Roundtree, if he gets the victory in that fight, could really work his way back in. Where if Poatan wins this fight, what's next?
Heavyweight.
Yeah, ultimately, and that's the weirdest thing is like he's facing his potentially toughest matchup in the division, and also potentially his end of his run at the division, whether he wins or loses.
Shaman.
Such a catchphrase, isn't it? At this point, what's it even mean? So, blame
Party People's Group Rice and Pitch, please.
There we go. Hey, Chama.
He says it's time to party, bro. And Magomed's got me walking into a.
I know he's got the raid music going. Yeah.
Cue inner Vanderlei Silva. Yeah, but Poatan's not fighting full 5 rounds, so.
I think if it makes it 5, Poatan's probably not walking away with victory. If it makes it the full 5.
I think it goes 5 rounds is better for Ankalaev.
Yeah. If you're Ankalaev, what's your game plan going into this one? Is it just wrestle?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think he has to mix that up because if he goes for all the wrestling, I think he makes himself easier.
Yeah, you can't be too predictable out there.
But I think it's a mixture of both.
Yeah, if I'm in Ankalaev's corner, I think that you ultimately have to strike with him at least a little bit. You can't just go completely wrestling heavy.
Naked takedowns barely work, especially at this level, even if Alex Poatan's not.
Even if you're just focused on finding him through the counter game, making your opponent miss and then finding the takedown through that is a lot more successful ultimately. So.
Time to party, Chama.
Rice.
I think he's ready to party. I don't think he's thinking about Rice right now. Agreed. This entrance is like WWE level. Tell your Siri to shut the fuck up.
I don't know why she decided to interject.
So focused. Look at him. Not a fuck given.
It's such a like opposite realm, right? Like he took the belt from Izzy, right? But Izzy with the huge flashy entrances, the dance, and stuff like that. Poetan, probably more memorable of a walkout, but just does this exact motion.
Well, because these are the
Names
type of entrances that get in your opponent's mind because you know he's not scared of you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got a guy that's running through people like that, you've got to be thinking, now he's coming to knock my head off.
Mm-hmm. Wonder how many doubts creep into somebody like Ankalaev's head going into a fight like this, seeing the type of run that Poetan's on.
Well, I mean, even if it's not doubt, there's at least got to be a thought of, I don't want to be added to the highlight reel. So I agree with that, Phil, but you can't just go in for a takedown without putting hands in front of it against a guy like that either, because you're going to get timed and knocked out. We've seen the guy throw his kicks and his knees. You come in there and don't throw some hands in front of that and are able to mix that up, you ain't going to hit him. Only thing that makes this any as scary at all for the thing with Poetan is that he's hittable.
Yep. But does Ankalaev possess that level of power to have one shot?
He's got tied for the most knockdowns in light heavyweight history.
Yeah, I guess that feat speaks for itself. Yeah.
He doesn't mean they all got finished, but he fucking dropped them.
Yeah.
Means he can find the button, and if you find the button late in the fight,
yeah.
People sleep on how good Ankalaev is. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from
performances aren't overly impressive sometimes.
W's a W, especially in a fight. This ain't like football.
Mm-hmm.
W's a W. You just made a blink, DC. It's your fault.
Ankalaev is only 32. Thought he was older.
Remember what we were talking about with the younger fighter thing, but so far it hasn't mattered.
Wow. The odds also flipped, if I'm not mistaken, because when it first came out, I think Ankalaev was the favorite.
Trying to stretch my neck.
Yeah. Mine's not back.
All right, one more roll call. Do we got any more? We got any Ankalaev guys in here? Anybody who's picking Ankalaev? James Lynch picked Ankalaev on the show.
I mean, it makes sense. Like we were saying, if you just simply ask the question, who's the more skilled MMA fighter? Probably going to be Ankalaev from 99% of the viewing audience. But that being
The
said,
viewing audience are those who know.
yeah, well, that being said, though, like we were saying, that's not always how the fight plays out, and both of us are leaning.
Herb Dean must be on vacation. So I notice a lot of the Russian guys don't have mustaches, but he would have a dope ass beard if he just connected that thing all the way.
I think it's a Muslim thing, to be honest with you, but I don't know why.
I'm just saying he's got the perfect beard to connect that joint.
Yeah, somebody who's been rocking the stash for quite a few years now. It completes the look, you gotta have it. You're gonna rock the beard.
I'm gonna need you to be filling them out. You're gonna do like the Lexus King and have him draw on the other part.
Yeah, there you go.
Bet you them UFC coats were going for an expensive ass penny. Chama!
Big moment here.
He's still stalking him just like he does everybody else.
Well, I think if you're Poton, you don't fight this fight any different.
Oh no, hell no, you don't.
Until
If it ain't broke, you don't fix it. The only thing you do is work on your wrestling defense if that's what he tries to do.
I think those calf kicks that he's been lighting people up with lately too could be a huge advantage going into this fight. Chewing it up early. Ooh. Already looking, the redness starting to pile up.
They're worried they're going to get timed on a knee or something.
Oh, good leg kick from Ankalaev.
Ankalaev's got to let that trigger go.
Opposite stances here too. Always makes for a little more of an interesting fight.
There you go.
He's definitely turning it a lot more into a 50-50 round than where it was at that first minute.
I think he was just trying to get his range and figure out where he could get, how far he needed to be to hit him. But the longer we stay on the feet like this, though,
it's a dangerous game.
I don't like that for Ankalaev. I'd like to see him at least threaten level.
Way.
So effortless with those kicks. The pressure's definitely changed, though. It was Pereira leading the dance, and now it seems like Ankalaev is the one applying the pressure a bit. Good leg kick.
Don't forget about those front kick knockouts that Ankalaev's got too.
Oh,
Here
here's the
comes the
wrestling.
wrestling.
Yep. There's that defense I was talking about, man.
Man, if this crowd starts booing him trying to take him down, that's the smartest thing he could have done. What, with 10 seconds left, he didn't get no takedowns in round one.
Close round, for sure.
I'd still say Pereira round.
Do I really
His
wonder.
legs banged up.
Oh, I agree, but that was to me the significant damage that he was able to land in that first round was the leg kicks, and I feel like Ankalaev was able to kind of lead the dance, especially in the last 3 minutes or so. It's an interesting round. I don't know which way the judges score it personally. I feel like maybe the more lingering damage is those calf kicks ultimately, but Ankalaev showing that he's not completely a fish out of water. That's for sure, at least through the first round.
There's those level changes I was talking about. I think that's the thing that can open this up.
Yeah, so far at this point into the second round, Pereira doing a really good job of just kind of circling around, landing them leg kicks. Ooh. That's a good kick by Ankalaev, though.
Remember, he's got those front kick knockouts.
Yeah, good leg kicks from both guys. For Pereira, I'm surprised we're not seeing a little more countering. It seems like Ankalaev is extending himself a little bit on some of these shots. Real 50-50 round to this point.
It's like, whoa, big shots from Ankalaev. Oh, another nice one. He's fucking throwing him. I was saying before the fight started, man, he's hittable, bro. Ooh.
No. No.
Damn. This is what Ankalaev's got to do, but damn.
Every time Poatan starts backing up, man, he's putting himself in less than advantageous position.
Fighting going backwards is hard to do.
Ooh, good jab. Kind of like a pushing jab, but definitely landed with some good force. Not the second round I thought we were going to see. Ooh,
nice shot. Remember what we were talking about before the fight? I mean, he's got one of the highest knockdown ratios.
Ooh.
Oh, shit!
Almost knocked him down there.
That's Ankalaev's round, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
James Lynch might have told us all to shut the fuck up.
Wow. That was a big shot to end that second round.
Can't not be 1-1 on that one, Philly. I mean, that was Ankalaev all day.
He's lucky that cage was there to save him, or else that would have been a knockdown for sure. Your Poatan, man, you can't just circle back or step back. You got to circle.
Well,
out.
this guy's not afraid to throw with him. That's the thing. Most people don't want to throw with Pereira, but he just did and cracked him in his shit a few times.
Seemed like that 60 seconds went by pretty quick, too. But we've seen Poatan hurt before and also still go out there and, end the fight. So definitely not over.
So
yet.
far, I think it's 1-1, man. I think Poatan won round 1. Ankalaev wins round 2, but Poatan was hurt bad in round 2.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's 1-1 personally, but Ankalaev also had some pretty good success in that first round, so it very well could be 2-0. But yeah, I would have it scored as well 1-1. But it definitely seems like all the momentum is on the Ankalaev side right now. Oh, good straight
Throwing him
shots.
again, man.
Yeah, good straight shots, man.
You know, for as good as Poetan is on his feet, he doesn't circle a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's allowing himself to just be caught.
It's a lot of straight forward and back.
Yeah. I think if you're Peloton, you got to get that respect back. You got to start throwing some of these bigger shots. Yeah, like Rogan was just saying, the hesitation, it's definitely a little evident. There's moments where he could be landing shots, even if they're not necessarily fight enders, that are just trying to bring that momentum back in his direction. But he seems to be, at least he's circling in this round, and he's not just finding himself going straight backwards. But to this point, 2 minutes in, it definitely seems like an Ankalaev.
And now, oh, nice elbow from Pereira, though.
For me, at least, this is a pretty surprising performance from Ankalaev to this point. I mean, we all knew he could strike and stuff, but to be out there actually outstriking Pereira.
Well, I think a lot of it's got to do with he knows that Pereira doesn't want to wrestle with him at all, so he doesn't have to worry about that, so he can open up more with his hands. And since he's winning the wrestling, even if Pereira were to catch him, he's winning the wrestling exchanges. Can't be getting caught like that, though.
Ooh, nice shot from
Ankalaev.
Yeah, if you're Pereira, man, you got to use some more head movement.
He's got to throw more.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely got to throw more. Looks like he's almost using this round as a recovery round. Apparently, Pereira landed more significant shots this round, but I didn't see that. I thought that was an Ankalaev round. Why, no chair, no water.
No chair, no water. You get no break. You must scratch him, brother.
All the energy. For Poton, man, I feel like he's got to try to throw some of them big shots with his hands again. It seems like he's just not being active enough with the actual boxing side, or at least try to implement some, he's chewing up the legs real good, which is doing a good job of kind of mitigating that power and stuff from the Ankalaev side. But still, to me, that's not enough to win these rounds. And when you're saying he's down 2-1.
Agree.
You got to do more. You got to at least find a way to, round out the game plan and see what you can do to evolve. Yeah. Why no?
He didn't bring the chair either, Philly B. Wonder if he remembered the tables.
Good defense from Pereira here, but
This is eating up time on the clock too, though. I think this is a little bit of what the UFC was scared about with this fight.
yeah, but it's not like he's doing this in round 1. This is round 4, and he's already shown that he can strike with him. So, to me, I have zero issue with this, especially the fact that he's now implementing it this late into the fight. And
I agree with that, but you and I understand MMA.
Yeah. I mean, he's already burned 2 minutes of this round. Man. It keeps going like this. We very well might see a and new, boys.
Hey, James Lynch called it. I agree with DC 100% on that one.
You hear the warnings coming from Mark Goddard, but I don't feel like they're warranted personally. He's doing enough throwing.
I mean, he's not. He's holding him there for the most part. I mean, he was landing shots. Oh, big shots on the break for Ankalaev.
Peloton definitely looking like the more tired fighter to this point.
Absolutely.
Or at least just Bill Wilder out there. Yeah, wrestling really eating them up here in this 4th round.
I think this is exactly what the UFC was a little scared of.
Mm-hmm.
The takedown defense for Pereira has held up, but he's not landing enough shots because he's having to defend takedowns the whole time.
Just that head pressure alone.
He's doing such a good job of like just tying him up. Shout out to J Bone. I would 2-2. I don't know. I could see 3-1.
Glover is definitely right with the corner talk here. He needs to be more aggressive. He needs to attempt to land some more bigger shots here in this fifth and final round. To me,
I just told J Bone in the text, man, I got 3-1 Ankalaev.
I mean, like they're saying, that second round was kind of close. He was chewing the leg up and stuff with those leg kicks, but not that you can go back and score the fight in retrospect, but clearly those leg kicks haven't added up to the level of damage that Pereira would like him to be, because we see all the momentum on the Ankalaev side.
Ooh, big shot from Ankalaev.
Yeah, if you're Pereira, man, in these exchanges, I know, there's a huge risk, of course. Ankalaev's on heat, but you got to come back with something. You can't just back out.
Alan Joban scores it the same way I got 3-1 Ankalaev.
Yeah, I agree. There hasn't been none of those typical Peloton shots, though, where he's really landed that ultimate damage and really had him on wobbly legs, skating out there or anything like that. It's been Ankalaev's done a really good job of mitigating all of that.
He's done a good job of mixing everything up. That's what I'm saying. I think the key to that is him mixing the wrestling with the takedowns, the pressure against the cage. Peloton's got to get busy to win this one.
You got to do something for sure.
For everybody that said he didn't want to strike with Peloton at all, he's blasted Peloton shit a few times.
I mean,
hey! Peloton smells blood.
Got to do something here. Yep, got to eat that shot and still come forward, bud. Tell you what, if this does end up going to the scorecards, I heard a lot of 2-2s out there and seen a couple come across the screen with the whole Twitter X posts and stuff. I mean, DC was just talking about it, how he feels as though Peloton's winning this fifth round.
Nice shot.
I mean, to me, it'd be crazy, but it's in the making. It could happen. We could see Peloton win a decision that I don't think he ultimately won the fight.
Nice jab again.
But that was a good stinging jab.
Nice head kick.
Yeah.
Good takedown defense, but it's just eating up time off the clock.
Does a good job fighting the hands, breaking the grit.
And he's turning back into it.
Yeah, this is real good work from Pereira. Real good work.
Here we go. 25 seconds left, man. Botan's got to get off the picture.
See, I feel like to this point in the round, he's done enough to win the round. And
I agree.
If anything, Ankalaev to me has got to let go and try to rain some shots in this last 10 seconds. Judges scorecards, man. We'll see. I agree with what DC was saying at around that 3-minute mark, where I feel like Poatan ultimately did enough in my eyes, if I'm a judge, to score that 5th and final round for him. If it was 2-2, man, Poatan wins that fight. I personally feel like Ankalaev was probably up 3-1, but I mean,
I had 3-1 Ankalaev, but if it was 2-2 Poatan.
Yeah. I don't think it was the fight we were expecting, though. What about you, Kyle?
I mean, I expected Ankalaev to be his toughest test. I think he was the toughest test. He hit him more than anybody else who's really hit him, and he was able to mix the stuff up. I mean, dude, Poatan was on rubber legs when he got hurt.
Mm-hmm. DraftKings has Ankalaev as the favorite still. Yeah, like Anik was just saying, and like I was mentioning in the beginning of this fight, man, this for the 205 division, this decision weighs drastically on how this whole thing plays out.
That means two of them had it 2-2. Oh, shit!
No, they didn't, Kyle.
James Lynch was right.
Yeah.
He's been calling for that title shot forever, man. So now what's the next fight for Poatan, though? That's the thing. Does he get an immediate rematch? I mean, if anyone should. Zaybone just lost the money.
Sons of a bitch, he said. And, ultimately I agree with him. I feel like, I don't know. It was a good performance from Ankalaev. Do not get me wrong at all. It was just one of those fights where I don't feel like yet again.
But I thought this is how it was going to look if he won, period. Just gritty, grimy.
Well, it spins into what I was saying earlier. I think ultimately Poatan ends up moving up to heavyweight.
He's going to want that belt back.
You think so? Last time he lost his belt, he moved up a weight class.
That was after he lost it and got it back, though.
No, he only lost once to Izzy, and that was when he moved up.
Yeah, but I think with the weight cut being so bad, getting it down to 85. This is a little different.
We've also were talking before if he was able to knock out Ankalaev, what else? What else is next other than that Aspinall or John Jones? To me, he doesn't lose a lot of stock being Poatan. I feel like it was still a pretty equal fight. He showcased that he is beatable. He didn't necessarily step on the gas where there was moments where he could have.
Well, what he proved is what I was talking about on the show. Like the thing that makes Ankalaev such a problem is the fact that he can mix in all the other stuff. Where Pereira, you're looking out for the striking. That's what you're looking out for. He mixed it up well. He mixed it up enough. He did enough in the judges' eyes. And we've got a new UFC light heavyweight champion. We're going to have to see what's next for Alex Pereira. What's next for Knockouts and Three Counts is the French-Canadian Frankenstein PCO makes his way back to the show this Tuesday. This Thursday, we're going to be talking with Yuli Diaz, the owner of the fastest knockout and bare knuckle history for BKFC. His next fight that's going to be happening on Dirty Boxing. Let's see what Poatan's got to say before we get out of here. And let's talk about what his record is. It's still only 12-3.
Well, basically fighting nothing but championship level matches.
And he's already a 2-division champion. You can see some of those shots landed looking at his cheek, though.
I don't think there's no denying that, man. Ankalaev definitely landed some solid shots. I feel like if anybody out of the two was closer to putting the other out of the fight, it was definitely Ankalaev.
Oh, for sure. There's no arguing that.
Don't love the excuse making either.
But with Alex Pereira losing, does this all but make it to where John Jones' next fight needs to be against Aspinall? Because now Pereira's not coming up to fight for the heavyweight belt. Only time.
I missed what he said there at the end, but
only time will tell. We got a new UFC champion. Make sure you check us out back here Tuesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend. Tell your mom. Tell your sister. Enjoy the fights. Good night. Good fight. Peace.